you.
They look
I like the
nice.
black too.
They look really nice on you.
Okay.
It's a mouse for me.
I should write out my notes for my working that I was asked if I was throwing a body in the river.
Yeah, you should.
Great. So during the eclipse, I worked banishing while the moon was covering the sun.
Yeah,
And I wrote down what I was banishing on slips of paper and burned them in the cauldron.
yeah.
And then whatever ashes were left that didn't blow away in the wind while I went and got Tom, I went and took that in the sand and threw it in the river. And somebody asked if I'd thrown somebody's ashes in the river because they saw me do
Throwing
that.
ashes,
I'm
yeah.
like, no, it was just the sand from something I was burning earlier. It's not a person.
That's funny.
No.
That's funny.
All
I
right.
think
So,
at work, go out and look at it with me.
Solanox is not here.
Shamrock's not here.
Your brand's not here, but we have a quorum. So, we don't have a vice president really. So who gets to call?
It's either you or I run the meeting.
Okay.
You want me to do it? I will.
Secretary Trump's treasurer.
Yeah, Secretary Trump's treasurer.
All right. So I call this meeting to order. Let me make a note here of who we've got missing. So we've got only a few items on the agenda because we don't have we didn't really have any submissions, but on the event. So has everybody had a chance to look at last month's meeting minutes?
I will admit I have not.
Sure.
I did, and I can tell you they're wrong. The amounts to charities is wrong.
Okay.
Just a second, I'll give you the updated numbers. The total income for the month of February was $6,814.62.
Give me 1 second. Let me get myself situated here correctly. Okay, so incorrect amounts. All right, what was it again? Total income was what?
$6,814.62.
Okay.
The split $336.15 to the mother church. It doesn't look right, but that's what it is. And to the Choice Charity that's where the problem is. Haha, I see it now. Hold on, I'll give you that number. Take those numbers out again.
Okay.
EO Hermes.
All of them, including total income?
No, total income's right.
Okay. I'll check and see if I need to create I guess this would effectively amend the last month's minutes, right?
Yeah, you just add an addendum
Okay. To last month
to
specifically?
last month's with the corrections.
I'll put that at the end. I'm gonna mark that as today that I did it.
Oh, because it's the fees. That's why it's not doing the right amount. Stupid fucking thing. Do it.
But I'll make a note in this meeting minute as well, these meeting minutes as well, that I made an addendum in the other one.
Yes.
Yep. Hey, look, I did get a little pink today.
Okay, I did have it right. God damn it.
Wait, it wasn't last month?
No. It wasn't right last month because I fucked it up.
The addendum was right.
What I was telling you the addendum was Choice Charity got $336.15.
Okay, hang on. Choice charity. 300 and what?
$36.15.
36.15. Okay.
And the mother church received $311.72.
52 cents. Okay.
And the reason for the difference is that $29 we pay to Linode every month for the mother church.
Using for difference.
And I have to round the choice charity up the next dollar up
Mm,
to give them the full amount of for transparency because their donation site doesn't take change.
Yeah.
So I have to round it up to that next dollar amount.
So, was the total amount income was actually it looks like the income from last time was correct. That's
Okay, I just had to give you the new totals for the.
So, okay, so I'm just gonna make that correct amount, so choice charity. Okay, all right, and that's the only changes we need to make?
Yes,
All right, perfect. I'm gonna copy and paste those into last month's,
that addendum.
into that addendum. Yeah, I've already made an addendum at the end. So other than those numbers, and now that I'm making this addendum, there we go. So I put, I put today's date and then addendum, financial report inaccuracy, incorrect amounts, choice charity, and I'll put the total, mother church, put the total, and the reason for difference. So that is the only change. So that made that change to last month's meeting, but everything else looks good to everybody.
Yep.
I motion to approve with the previously noted addendums.
Second.
Second. All right, there we go. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So let me. Right. I need to get good at shorthand.
Yes, you do. Or get macros installed on your keyboard so you can make.
Right? Something. All right. So that's all right. So now we got the financial report for this week or for this month.
March's income was $2,120.78. Expenses for March were $6,480.04. The caveat, the reason that the expenses were so much for March, we transferred $4,580 to a savings account that we established for last month's board meeting.
Mhm.
So that's
4,580.
Yep. That's why that is so much. $80 of that is from Imbulk's raffle. The 4,500 is from the anonymous donor that we had. Tithes for the month. Mother Church, $106.04. Minus the $29 to Linode. And Choice Charity.
Just to clarify, that 106 is with the.
With it not subtracted yet.
Okay, so
That's their total tithe. I gotta take out. Here, I can tell you what it is. I've got it on a spreadsheet right here.
yeah, it makes it cleaner.
$77.04
Okay.
to the Mother Church and 107 to the Choice Charity.
So. Okay.
That is all I have right now for.
Do we have the totals for the actual what's in the bank account right now?
Oh yes, I can give you that too. Just a second.
Should we also note what our Ostara savings account transfer was?
Yes, we will do that too. Thank you, Megan. Damn it. It's the right damn. You and your Dara dirt can go away. I thought you threw that in the river. Currently, right now, in the business account, in the checking account for Weavers of the Web, we have $5,347.66. I transferred out on April the 3rd, $60 from Ostara raffle donations to the savings account. We also got our Patreon pending right now. That's why it's so high. And then in our savings account for the church, we have $4,640.
That's that total we put in earlier, and then just plus an extra
60.
60. So there we go. Store, but that doesn't apply for last month, right? Because you did that on what day did you say you did that?
That what, the $60? I did that on the 3rd. I wait until the bank account is cleared so that I can make sure we pay the tithe on what we're transferring to the savings account.
Right.
Because that has to be paid, a tithe has to be paid on that before it's used or saved. Currently in the savings account right now, with the savings account, we are earning 0.1% interest on that. So far, we've accrued 35 cents, guys.
So I made an error in my typing. The current balance was 4,000.
640.
Sorry, on the current checking account. I apologize.
5347.66.
Cool. Somehow I got a 4 in front of that, and I was like, I know we don't have $45,000 in that.
Yeah, I wish if we had that, we wouldn't have to have the discussion. We're gonna have to go later. So
Yeah, no, I was just double checking which number I needed to remove. That was my mistake.
okay, cool.
Our Patreon is currently at $965 a month with 25 paid members.
965.
$965. 25 paid.
Okay. Is that everything we've got for financial report then?
We are done with the financial report at this time.
Perfect.
Need to take a drink out of my.
I can see the floor.
Alrighty. Welcome Summerfest.
Oh, I guess I didn't really concede the floor. Damn it, I tried. As of right now, for Welcome Summer Festival, we have 15 paid vendors.
Awesome.
We have 1, 2, 3, 4 charity vendors. Well, 3 charity vendors and one that's grandfathered in, and
Okay.
we're paying off the debt.
As previously noted.
As previously noted in
So
January or February.
That was February.
February's board meeting. We did not have a meeting last month because of other obligations we had as a coven. Before we leave tonight, I would like to sit down and discuss and have a meeting. Pick a date this week so that we can have a meeting because we need to get some things done.
okay.
As long as it's not Thursday.
Hi,
debate.
welcome. Okay, so we're gonna create schedule meeting. Did you see I know there was at least 2 emails that went to the festival's email.
Yep.
Have you replied to both of those?
I've replied to what? Let me see. Which ones are you talking to about?
One from was it Akiran or Akiran?
Yeah, we already got Akira's.
And then
taken
Akira's,
care of.
there's another one I saw that came in the last couple weeks.
Yeah, already been taken care of.
Cool.
I took care of those already. That's one of the things I do on a daily basis is check that email, and if I find something, I get it taken care of, get it answered, and get it done. I'm gonna probably send out this week another round of emails to previous vendors that have signed up. Send a round to the vendors that have paid so that we can remind them of the rules. What's that? And
Taking
pictures.
pictures.
And get pictures and things like that. I do have some pictures so that we can get some advertisements done. We've got to get that done because we need to start advertising this.
Yeah.
So that we can have a successful event. Food vendor, we are working with the Chip Park and using their space, their food, because it's just easier and it's less headache on our part. One less thing we have to worry about. They're handling the food. That way it also shows that we are supporting our community by buying from them.
There's a kitty on screen.
Oh, for just showing us pussy off.
Look at it, it's so pretty.
For those who have done senior year, we are 7.5 weeks out.
Yes, we are 7.5 weeks out.
Holy
Summer
crap.
Festival. Thank you. I do have a couple more people to email. I had a last couple weeks ago when I was running the store, I had a somebody come in wanting to vend at the store. I says, I can't approve that, but here, give me your email address and I'll send you the stuff about our festival. And also, one of the gentlemen was here on Wednesday night, wants to teach. So we're gonna do that too.
We have 3 confirmed teachers.
2, maybe 3. I'll look, we'll discuss that in our meeting and we'll bring it to the next board meeting. Because we're gonna get hot and heavy on advertising this next month. Gotta do something.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's the goal for how many vendors we should have?
Our goal is 25.
Okay, so we
We had some work. I think we had 20 last. I think we had 18 last year. I think we're trying to hit 20, 25.
Okay.
So we're over halfway there.
Yeah, I was just trying to think, what can we do to get more vendors? I was thinking about, I might see if the General Defense Committee wants to put a booth out there. I'll check with them.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad idea because that's another organization that we work with, and I want to reach out to Punks with Lunch too. I want to be careful on how many free vendor spots we're giving though too.
Well, I wasn't gonna suggest as a free vendor. I was gonna say, hey, would y'all, because it's what to get a slot at this point?
35.
35. So I mean, I'm sure somebody in these organizations could throw 35 down.
Because it'll on the 1st of May it goes to 45.
Okay.
So we've got less than 30 days to get vendors in at this $35 price point. That's what I'm going to put out a big call that. I'm also going to throw some stuff on different different Facebook pages that we're a part of as the church so that we can entice some people.
Yeah. Just anybody that we can.
I got a vendor off from a Facebook group actually.
Okay.
That I'm a part of. They were looking for places to vend. I says, I've got a festival here in Lansing. Here's the information. And somebody's actually interested in coming. So
so I know that we had talked about for advertising the getting it folded into the budget for what was it, 5% of the budget goes to advertising?
we 5%. We do 10% of our income for the month. Half of it goes to the church, half of it goes to this.
Okay. So
No, I thought we split it up by where it's like half of it's Facebook and half of it is a different. And then within that we had this discussion last time.
like 2 months ago, I think we decided.
Thank you, Megan, for making it. We will make sure we have our budget.
But I guess what I was getting at was, from my understanding, Solenox does most of the advertising for the church. So as long as we get that information, those pictures and stuff like that, where Solenox can get them, and then as some of us might be helping with advertising, we can do it there too. But
but we need to create the ads for them. We're not going to dump more work on them.
that's fine. No, create the ad. We just need the graphics and whatever, and then say, hey, Solenox, push these out.
Megan's got her hand up.
Per the February 12th meeting minutes, we move that we take 5% of the monthly revenue and put that into a marketing budget.
Mhm.
Half goes to Facebook marketing and half goes to Google marketing. This includes the entire church marketing and Welcome Festival being a part of it.
Okay. And that's okay. That's, I think, yeah, that's what it was. And so we just need to make the graphics, like who's making the graphics?
Well, isn't that something we can discuss as a?
We'll come out that at,
Okay.
we'll discuss that at the committee meeting.
Okay.
We're gonna take up board meeting time.
Cool. All right. Was there anything else on Welcome Summerfest we needed to report?
We do have Bob, Teddy, and Lady Kate as headliners, and that's our third free spot for charity. They are going to be doing veneration of the mother, because without the mother, all of us wouldn't be here. We had to have a mother to get us here. And they are also going to be doing they're going to be doing a live auction at the end of their thing. Because what they usually do is auction off part of their ritual supplies.
Mhm.
That money will be split between Pagans in Need and the Blue Bead Project.
Okay.
And Pagans in Need will also be I need to talk to my board, and we're going to talk about how we're going to handle that money.
Okay.
Will that have any conflicts with us also having our raffle?
No,
Okay,
total two separate things, because our raffle is at the end of the day. Theirs is going to be after their ritual,
individual.
and their ritual is usually
In the afternoon.
Middle of the day.
1 to 3. I'm going to give them a 2-hour time block because I know how they run. I love Bubba, Teddy, and Lady Kate, but I know how they run. Yes,
When we're done with this topic.
I think we are. Any other questions?
They were gonna do donate half to Penn, and what was the other half going to?
Blue Bead Project is their charity.
Blue what?
Bead Project, BEAD Project.
Okay. All right, cool. Yeah.
You guys want to know what the Blue Bead Project is?
Sure.
Blue Bead Project helps women of domestic violence or that have been raped, been marginalized, have problems getting food and things like that. They do things to help them and get them on their feet. It's a really good outreach program.
Okay. Do we have any more questions on any of that? Just
I think we're good on Summer Festival.
okay. Alrighty, we have Green
Before
Man.
we move on, now that Alan is here, should we put security on the agenda?
We can. Yeah.
I think.
Alan, do you want to do a report on security? The
Cause
security.
it's
Money.
committee.
Right.
It's
Stuff.
We didn't end up having a meeting this past week, did we?
We normally have it after.
Do we have it after? I thought it was the week before.
Yes.
Okay.
After.
And I was gonna say probably won't have one this week because I think we're to the point where we need people to go in and just start reading and making comments. And then hopefully we can talk about that at the next board meeting. And then our planning meeting to follow up that board meeting is when we'll start working those changes in. That's my thoughts.
Do we want to make it available to the board to just look at on their own time between now and the next?
It already is.
It already is.
Look at it.
Okay, so all right.
Yeah.
So, all right, make that.
They all have access to it.
Yeah, we're just to the point where we need people to go in and give us feedback on it.
So I guess that's the task for everybody is now in our next board meeting, please look at the document and go through it.
Yep.
Leave notes.
And then we won't meet this Thursday. We will meet after the next board meeting to roll any changes in.
Okay, sounds good.
So,
Okay, so that'll be put off until the next board meeting.
I'm going to get measurements for Tamara so that she can get a scaled drawing of this for us too. Of our
Okay.
space.
Thank you.
Okay.
Cool. All right, so the next thing we have is Green Man Day. What are we gonna do for Green Man Day?
Put away Ostara, pull out Beltane.
Thank you. We also need to build a new base for our maypole. And Solanax and I had talked about the maypole. We're going to reuse the one we did used last year. We're going to go through and unbraid the ribbons. And if we decide we need to add more, we can either take them off our first maypole, or we can go buy more and add to.
We
Is that
might,
something, are we gonna do that on Green Man Day? Like,
What?
are we gonna do that on Green Man Day?
What's that?
unbraid it and all that, or is that just?
We're going to unbraid it and get the new base built for it, so it's ready to go for ritual.
I take it we probably, do you think the property would be dry enough to try to mow that day, or do you know?
No.
Okay, fair enough.
Speaking of the
I was
property,
gonna recommend that we add that as an agenda item.
we will talk, we'll add that as an agenda item.
Okay.
Property talk.
I was gonna say property updates.
Yeah.
All right, yes,
Now,
ma'am.
this can be like on a, if we have time list, but I propose that we also add a impromptu river cleanup. If we have time, especially focusing on like where our Ostara was.
And also focusing on Center Street itself, because it's disgusting, guys.
So I don't know if we wanna call it river cleanup and more just like
Trash pickup.
property, yeah,
Clean
trash
up.
pickup.
Okay, so let's do that. Let's say let's just call it trash cleanup if time permits. Property trash cleanup at the current church, right?
At their current location, because it needs it bad, guys. It's bad.
There's a ton of.
And if we get enough people, we
River.
could have a crew out there doing that while the crew
Doing other
are
things,
inside
yeah.
doing other stuff. So
Right, that's true too. But I just know it's something we need to work on, because I spent an hour out there, got 7 pails of trash on the last river cleanup and made barely a dent in it, guys.
y'all know anybody who needs volunteer hours? We could probably make that happen. Somebody from outside coming in doing volunteer hours, right?
We got to be careful on that.
That's fair. That's fair. All right. So I've got those 4 items on here. Anything else we want to add for Freeman Day? Or does that sound like a good full day?
I don't think there's really anything else we really need to do here. Organize that storage room a little bit more.
Okay.
Because it's
That's
wild.
like I think that's an every month.
That's an every month thing, is keeping that
The storage area.
storage area cleaned up, because it's gets unruly.
But clean up. This.
Hard to upkeep banishment spells on dust bunnies.
Okay. Cool. Got that.
All right. Anything else? What's our next item?
So that was everything we had, just kind of we'd already kind of established. So did we want to do the talk about
Property
right now?
All right, new business. Property update. Megan and I went to the property yesterday. Was it yesterday?
Yeah,
Saturday,
yes,
right?
no, it was yesterday.
It was yesterday. It was Sunday. It was that because we went after pantry.
Yeah.
Okay.
And before we went did our thing, we went to the property, and we have a lake
And a moat.
and a moat and a river.
We
It's
so moated that shit so much that we now have a moat.
I actually have video that I'm going to try to get uploaded to our drive so that we can share it with our architect, or let the architect know about it the next time we have a meeting. The high spots, for those of us that have been out and mowed, we know where the high spots are, right there in the center and stuff. That's all squish.
Mhm.
It's wet. It's really wet. The east side of the property line, where the tree is that needs to come down and we need to trim up, that's all underwater from the front all the way back to where we cut in the trail. Around the shed is all wet, and literally the moat goes around the shed.
Do we want to at some point go over there and check for where you think there's a drain, see if there's a drain being clogged, maybe?
What I want to do is I want to go online and look at the Google Maps, because Google Maps will tell you if there's a drain line in there, and I want to see if there's a drain line in there. If there is, we need to go find it and make sure that it's kept clear so that we can mitigate some of this water issue, because this is going to cause a problem when we get ready to build and things like that, because we're going to have to do a lot of improvement, and once we start improving, it's going to cause problems for our neighbors, because once you build things up, water has to find a place to go.
We're gonna have to put in a drain tile system to drain it away from the neighbors.
Yes. So there's gonna be some stuff we're gonna have to do to improve this property. I hate to say it, but
Well, that's what you get when we take untouched, unused
Right.
land, so,
right.
yeah.
Currently, I was talking with Solenox the other day. We owe a little over $8,000 on the property right now.
What's property valued at?
Just a second, I can tell you. LANTZB. Spell last name, guy. Oh wait, someone asked his last name.
Lance.
LANZBRG or BURG.
Yeah, BUR.
At the time, I can't even spell someone else.
GLANTZ.
Oh, I missed the T.
BERG.
Yes, TZ. Oh, sorry.
GLANTZB.
BRG.
G.
14.
There we go.
Wait.
Assessed value of the property right now is $12,500. Taxable value is $12,500.
Taxable value?
Taxable value $12,500.
So does that mean it's like twice that?
No, the
No.
taxable value and the assessed value are the same.
That means, yeah, that means they can tax from that number based on that number. So
But
I mean, like my house, I've got one price and then what it's valued at taxes is about half that.
this is the taxable the final taxable value is $12,500 right now.
part of that also, Alfred, might be that it's virgin land and just there's nothing on it. So
There is nothing on it.
there's nothing to improve its value.
There's been no improvements to raise that value.
But I mean, they're not making any more land, so it has a tendency to appreciate is what I'm saying.
Right. We paid when we bought it, we paid $15,900 for it, guys.
Yep.
And so that's saying it's worth less now?
Maybe, I don't know.
I'm not for sure how it works.
Okay,
Oh, land value, 2,500 or 2,000, $25,000 is what it's worth.
The land, okay.
Okay.
so about twice what? the
Yep.
tax-
Yeah, it's twice what the taxable value is.
Okay,
Sorry.
okay.
Yeah, it's worth,
Just like you said.
just like you said, Alfred, I'm sorry, I'll defer to you.
No problem.
All right, so right now we owe a little over $8,000 on that property.
Yeah,
We've got some money sitting around right now, guys. I move so that we can help pay off some of this interest, cut down on the interest that we're paying on this property, and we can cut some of our expenses a little bit. We pay a balloon payment on the property of $4,000.
Balloon payment?
A balloon payment. Where we take $2,000 out of our savings account and $2,000 out of our checking account and write Solenox a check to pay for $4,000 and cut what we owe on the property in half.
Do me a favor. Let's reword that motion. That motion was very wordy.
Okay. I move that Weavers of the Web pays $4,000 towards what we owe on the property on Jolly Road. Funding source $2,000 from savings and $2,000 from checking.
I'm gonna counter that motion. And ask that we table it till next month, so we're not making that big of a decision during retrograde.
yeah, and I think it's a good idea to have some of the other responsible adults here. This is it's I like the proposal. I think though that it needs it needs a lot more of us here to.
I better tell you,
They're gonna.
two of the people that are not here can't
They have
vote
to
on it.
recuse themselves. Yeah,
They have to abstain from voting.
that is true.
I still think we need to table it for a month.
And if we table it for a month, we may be able to pay the property off
Then let's go with that.
because of what numbers we've got right now.
Let's table it for a month and not make big decisions during retrograde,
Make it an official.
especially
proposal.
on the day of. Yeah, I make a motion to table that motion.
Okay.
Especially on Eclipse Day.
I second that as this is being presented to us. And as individuals, we need to consider the ramifications, the pros and cons. That'll give us a month of time of deliberation and meditation on said proposal to then be able to make an informed and educated decision as individuals next month.
Mhm.
What she said.
Okay.
Okay, so all in favor of tabling this motion?
I
I
Aye. I swear this person that just called me only ever called me when I'm in a meeting. I'm sorry. I'm gonna not answer that. Okay.
And I abstain.
Okay. So
And the reason I abstain is because you're tabling my motion.
okay.
But you make a valid point and I appreciate that.
yeah.
Also, as long as we're talking about property and things like that, another point of new business was. What do y'all think about getting some type of security camera that's solar powered that we can get on the property so that we can keep an eye on it? If we're gonna start doing some buildings and things like that on it,
So I think it needs when I worked with clients with head injuries, we had cameras out on trees that were battery powered and the batteries lasted a ridiculously long time.
Yeah,
So-
any game camera.
a game trail camera or
keep in
something
mind when
like.
you get those, you
Yeah.
have to go pull the SD card every so often.
These were actually working off Wi-Fi though, so you could just
The problem is if we wanna work
Yeah.
off Wi-Fi, we don't have Wi-Fi.
you don't have Wi-Fi, right?
So yeah, I think that okay, so let me make a note in here. Okay, so
Especially since we do have a shed, if we, depending on how it's mounted, we could.
yeah, I
probably-
don't think it's a bad idea. I think we need to be careful if we do that though, to make sure it doesn't point to either neighbor's property, preferably just have it pointing straight back to the shed and into our woods or something like that.
Now you're talking about mounting something on a public pole and we can't do that.
No, not a pole, on a tree.
There's no trees in the front of the property that we can mount on.
Not right in the front, but there are trees over by the shed and we could point them that direction.
Okay,
Okay, so are you wanting to make a motion about that?
well, I wanted to have a discussion about it. What do you all think? I mean, I wanna see what other people think. And if we do, we need to assign someone to go do the legwork to look up the stuff and get the information on it and what it's gonna cost and how we're gonna maintain it and the plans to maintain it and all that fun stuff. Hello, Solanax. How are you? How was
Hey.
your trip?
Catch me up. What's the question?
Okay, so Bill's wanting to see what everybody thinks about adding a solar powered camera to the property.
Oh, okay.
So
Things that we discussed and I wanted to bring it up.
I like the idea of it. I think it just depends. We just need to keep in mind we have to go retrieve the SD card every week or whatever. I have heard stories of people not liking cameras being put up where they were visible, so that's the only thing we have to worry about, the neighbors possibly not being a fan of that. But
That's my concern. If we're mounting it to the trees behind the shed, I think it would be very difficult to get the image narrow enough that it doesn't include the neighbor's
I
side.
was thinking, so the spot I was thinking, because I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, maybe wrong, but there is a tree that is right next to the fence, the fence on the one side, that's fairly far forward enough. We should be able to get the shed in the view, and then pretty much at an angle to where at most it just goes back into our property. I think. I might be, it'd be something we'd have to go look at and verify, but
Oh, there certainly should be views that we can do that don't infringe on the neighbors.
Okay.
Well, and
That shouldn't
honestly,
be a problem.
also because of where that fence is that the JWs have put up, that is technically on the property line, and the side that's facing us is the wrong side. So it makes it look like it's our fence, and we could also mount to that fence as well, if need
I
be.
mean, would it be a problem if we just also, if we found that we didn't have a tree we could mount it to very easily, if we just put a post on our own property? Would that be?
I would prefer to put a post in than put it on the JW's fence.
Yeah.
Well, we can do that too, and honestly, if that's the case, I've got extra 4x4s at the house right now too, from when I purchased my fence, so that's one less thing that the church would have to buy.
Except you already
We could-
promised those to me.
There's one there, I thought you only needed
I
one.
need
Because
3.
we could
Three.
put it so
We'll
close
see.
to the fence that it almost looks like from outside that it looks like it's part of that, but it's not because it's just right next to it. That way,
Right.
because we don't want it to just be out in the middle of the property where anybody can just, oh, there's obviously a camera on that. We want to kind of keep it somewhat covert, I would think. But
Yes, that's the plan.
but if we make it real close to the fence, but not quite touching the fence, it could look like it's part of that, and people are just going to make that assumption. And great, whatever, everybody ignores the camera.
Ella. Also, as long as we're talking about property too, on the Green Man Day, spending some time over at the property, cleaning it up. There's trash all
That's
over.
right, you want to do that.
Oh, not with that.
Okay, so.
If the lake dries up.
If the lake recedes, yeah.
If the lake doesn't dry up, I think that we need to just give into it and plant some nice ornamental swamp tolerant plants in there. That way it doesn't get overgrown and we don't get fined for not mowing.
Yep. Agreed.
Yeah, no,
Path of least resistance here would be to go ahead and start gardening in those areas and plant stuff that's not, doesn't need to be mowed.
I
Right.
like watercress. Watercress is tasty.
Except once that dries up, they'll die.
I know.
I'm not, I mean, we're not gonna plant anything like trees that we want to grow for 20 years or anything like that.
Right.
Anything that we put in there, we can have it ripped out once we're ready to build.
Right. Absolutely.
It's just a stopgap to make it easier to maintain the property and do something pretty with it.
Right.
Yep.
Do
we have any more thoughts on the camera thing though? We kind of jumped topics there, but
I think I really think the camera idea is a great idea. Who wants to take the lead on doing some research on what it's going to cost and how often things need to be changed and how often it needs to be visited and stuff?
Something that we could also look at is whether or not there is a publicly accessible Wi-Fi there that we could tap into. Wouldn't really care if it got hacked.
so I think I have on while mowing checked to see if there's Wi-Fi I could get access to, and I didn't see any that was open, I don't think.
Okay.
But because I think I tried to connect my phone over there, but we could go do like another recon somewhere out there and just double check. I
The
mean,
other possibility is that I have a Comcast business account and we might be able to log into the Xfinity Wi-Fi.
okay.
Yeah, there's that possibility too.
Yeah,
So that we wouldn't have to be reliant on going in and looking at a card. We could have a feed.
yeah. So somebody needs to check on that. See, is there confirmation that there's Xfinity right there?
Xfinity's
There
all
should be. They're all over town.
It only takes one house in the general area with Xfinity to be able to tap into Xfinity.
The only thing I will say this, sometimes when you're trying to use a device, like if you I know with a lot of devices like cameras and stuff like that, I have to some of them I have to remote into first. Or like tap into them first and then connect it. Sometimes they can get tricky with you have to sign in, but we could.
We should be able to do it.
Okay.
One way or another, because we could get out there with the phone, hotspot it, and then tap it to the
Okay.
permanent Wi-Fi connection.
Okay. So I guess I'll check into the camera what our options are for that kind of outdoor.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Let me add that welcome Tamara. Let me add Tamara's on there.
Who
Hey,
else
guys.
do we have here?
We have everybody but Brian now.
Oh, we got Heather and Megan in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a quorum before Alan showed up, and then we had our 5 and we just kind of started, so and then he joined.
Yeah.
and
There's
trickled.
9 of us now, right? Total.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Do we
Yeah,
want to give
Brian,
a,
Brian is sick. So
oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Do you want to give a recap of what we discussed at this meeting so that they know what we went through?
So we did we started with last month's meeting. Turned out there was an error on last month's meeting, so we made an addendum. Both to
Okay.
last month's meeting minutes, but also on here that we made it and then approved that. We did financial report for this month, and then we talked about Welcome Summerfest. We had like 15 paid vendors for charity vendors, and then that we're going to be scheduling a meeting after this board meeting. We're going to go schedule a meeting to figure out who's going to make some graphics and stuff like that to be advertised out, because that's the thing we definitely need to do, so they can be pushed out to Facebook and Google and all that.
They were 7.5 weeks out according to senior year.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then security committee, we were at the point with that one that basically we just need everybody on the board to go look at the documents that are there, make notes, make comments, whatever, and then next month we want to look at look at what everybody said about them and make and talk about it on the board meeting for that.
Okay.
For Green Man Day, we talked about put away Ostara stuff, check out and pull out the Beltane stuff, make sure we've got everything we need, build the new base for Maypole, trash cleanup at our current location if time permits, or if we have enough volunteers, if we have enough people, we could have different teams doing different things. This team goes out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Wednesday,
And that,
I'm gonna make a note of that. I'm gonna mention that at the end of Wednesday night church. I want to see if we can get more volunteers, hopefully, and maybe we can have enough people that we can actually do multiple projects at the same time. That'd be awesome.
Yep.
And then if also, if it's not too wet, possibly also Jolly Road, the property on Jolly Road would be good to clean that up as well. And then we talked about the property itself, about the wet, soggy nature of it, and we need to go out and see if there's a drain line. Or Cass is going to look online and see if he can find out if there's any record of it online. We also talked about the fact that we owe a little more than $8,000 on the property. Bill moved that Weavers of the Web paid $4,000 of it, $2,000 from savings, $2,000 from checking, but Mandy has moved that we table that because we're currently in Mercury retrograde. And that was voted to, we voted to table it until next month. So.
okay.
Because it is Mercury retrograde, probably not the best time to be making major money decisions.
Also, as Mandy pointed out, eclipse day.
And
And we need time to think about all the ramifications.
Yeah, we can't make an informed decision when it's just been presented. We need to consider all points.
Yep.
All right.
So, and then that pretty much, you came in right as we started talking about the camera. So that's where we're at. That was a quick rundown where we're at.
All right. Sounds good. So what do you have left on the official agenda?
We didn't have anything else because nothing got posted on Facebook, the Facebook event for agenda items. So we went with basically all of our normal ones that we do.
Usual business.
Usual business. Yep. I didn't know. I was going to ask if anybody else had anything else before we.
Yeah.
Move on. So.
I have a few things, but does anybody else have anything first?
Nope. I'm good.
Okay. So paying off the property was the one thing, and we can talk about that over the next month. As far as the building, I just want to make sure everybody's aware that we have not been forgotten. The architect is still working on his end of it and will be getting back to us. So it's still, we're still waiting to hear back from him, but we haven't been forgotten. And then I wanted to talk about our Sabbath feasting situation. I would like to make it a policy that all board members will be bringing food to share. Would like to discuss now what we think a good menu for Beltane would be. And each of us take a dish of it that we will make enough to feed, say, 20 people and bring. And then I can add our idea of a Beltane appropriate menu as suggestions in the event for if other people want to bring those things as well. But if we do that, we will be setting the example for what we want other people to do. And we will make sure that we at least are fed and that we have extra. And again, setting the example of what we want other people to do. Thoughts?
I think we increase it to 30 serving size instead of 20. Just so that we can ensure that there will be stuff for us if we get tied up with the closing parts of ritual.
Well, and that's the other thing is I would like to make it a policy that nobody starts feasting until we are all ready to start feasting. No more of this getting into it while Coven is still cleaning up and resetting the property. We need to finish ritual, break down what we need to break down before eating, and then everybody gets to eat. So that's going to mean probably assigning one person to be feast captain for each Sabbath to help run that. Get the table set up, get the silverware set up, and make sure that people wait. And
Now, to
Just-
clarify on that, people wait, I assume, to dig into what's been brought to share. But if they brought their own sandwich, I'm assuming it's okay if they go sit down and eat their sandwich, right?
So let's talk about that a little bit.
I
Does
think
anybody else have thoughts on that?
I do. Megan does.
Mandy can go first.
I think that the point would be that we have communal feasting and not solo feasting. So that like everybody should wait.
That was basically the point I was gonna make, with the exception if there is a medical reason, like if your blood sugar is low, if you need to eat, by all means, you go eat. But if you are in a position where you can wait to feast with everybody, please do so.
So,
Well, and I think the odds of somebody having a blood sugar crisis needing the feast right after ritual is unlikely because we're giving them cakes and ale.
so the question,
I'm just trying to be inclusive to all without outing.
I know, I know.
do we make that as part of our, when we're done with ritual kind of announcements or comments or something we say, or do we, because I just feel like that we run into a risk there of people getting like offended at this point, because like you're telling me I can't eat yet because people are doing stuff still.
Yes, because people are doing stuff still, right? And we're a community and we work together.
If everybody, all 33 people that were at ritual, last ritual, would have helped tear down ritual and put everything back, it would have been a lot easier and a lot less work on everybody that was taking it down. Everybody takes care of a chair or two. It makes that many hands make light work.
Yep.
And it makes it where we can all get to that feasting part quicker.
So, and that particular thing applies definitely a lot more with our indoor rituals at the church. Whereas at the thinner, we just have, unless we're dragging out, some of those picnic tables, right?
Right. But we can also, that makes this an easier transition on this. We're going to be starting to do something new, but we're doing it while we're also doing it in a new for the year place. where there's less of that, like you said, less of that cleanup. Usually at the store, we're trying to clear the ritual space entirely so we can set up tables. At Fenner, it's not so much that we have to do. So I think it'll be a little easier for folks to get accustomed to
Okay.
waiting until we say go. The other thing that we can do is make feast time official, 7 o'clock. We're not going to feast until 7 o'clock. Any ritual that we do, even the longer ones, we're generally done within an hour and a half. That gives us a 30-minute window where we could say, hey, let's start feasting early.
Mhm.
But if we already said we're waiting until 7 o'clock, that's feast time. Then people jumping the gun. I'm not likely to say something about it, but I think it's less likely to happen.
No, I like that method personally. I like that.
To the original question of do we make announcement, it doesn't hurt to make an announcement in our like preparation transition from ritual space to feasting space. So I propose that we do make a recommendation or a comment, an announcement, especially since this is something new. Maybe we can revisit it, at a later date, but until it's a new habit, it's not hurting anyone to say anything. It helps reinforce the habit. And I propose that probably we would even continue doing it because we are always getting new people, and that clarification of what's to be expected in that next step helps with that transition and helps the new people feel included and not ostracized.
Yeah. Something else that we could do is have a ritual around beginning the feast. Some kind of ritual blessing and addressing the community as a whole over the food.
I like
Will
that.
also help with that. Alfred?
So why don't, like at Fenner, why don't we, all the food that comes in for the feast, why don't we put it in the back of that shed area where it's not real convenient to get to, make setting up like a buffet table as part of the breakdown of the other part of the ritual, so that kind of people know the table's all set up. We start calling them over to come get your food,
Yeah, well, we get the table set up and we say, please gather for the blessing so that we can feast.
Right.
And now we have a formal feasting start time.
It gives a little more structure to the overall event as well.
Yeah.
It also makes sure that everybody gets something is why we're this to begin with. Just make sure everybody gets something, because if you bring something, you should be able to eat your something. So
And this is just part of growing pains.
Mhm.
We've gone from a group that had 10 to 20 people at a Sabbath ritual, which it's a lot easier to be anarchist about it. When we're getting 30 to 50 plus people, we have to start being more organized with some of this. So it's going to feel weird for a while, but this is a good thing.
Which
Yeah.
goes back to my point of, I think we should put it as expectation of 30, not 20, because our rituals have been over 20 consistently for a while. Now, we're not always hitting the 30 and the 50, but I feel like this last one was what, 22?
33.
Okay, well, I'm sorry, I lied.
And we get up towards 50 at the outdoor ritual.
Correct.
Because
Yeah.
it's a bigger venue. It's night especially if it's nice, a nice day out. People want to be out and outside, enjoying the weather, being part of the community, having that social time, having that gather time. I think is an important aspect of what we
I
do.
think this will also end up encouraging. It sounds like it's kind of re-evolving back into like a potluck style, but less formalized, I think.
Actually, this is more formalized than what we were doing.
Well, okay, let me clarify. The less formalized in the sense of, getting people to sign up to bring things. It's more of like we create the exam,
Right.
and we're more leading the people in the potluck style. So that's something that, obviously, that being said, like if we provide food, if we as, and I don't think anybody has at all complained about the possibility of us as board members being required to bring food, right? Like nobody's even commented on that at this point. But like if we bring food for 30 people, 50 people show up, there is always still that risk that we except for the fact that we're making this plan this way, you know, that the people get there before we do, kind of thing. But I think it's a good way to get started. If we get more people doing it, we're just going to basically, it's going to look like a potluck. Just
So, and here's the other thing that we can do with the more formal start time and setup is give people priority in the line. Everybody on the board should get to go through the line first, along with children and then the elderly. Now, if y'all want to take a back seat to somebody who's older or younger than you for that, that's your choice. But everybody on the board has the right to go first. And we call children and the elderly to come up at the front of the line.
Is us going first going to have a negative perception to the community that we are like
More important.
more important or
right. I like it. Thank you for putting those into words. I was sitting here trying to figure out how to put that into words. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I sympathize with the feeling and I understand it, but y'all deserve it.
I was gonna say, we're the ones
We're the
using
one.
the energy to
Yeah,
hold the
that's
ritual space.
spending, yeah.
We're the ones that are holding the quarters. We're the ones that are
Invoking the
invoking the
deity.
deities.
Planning it, cooking a lot of the food, setting up, tearing down.
Yeah.
And y'all haven't done this and y'all haven't been in the areas where it gets discussed. But if you go to GodCon, this is what will happen. Cast eats first, and then it goes by degree and seniority. And then the general. And that's because the people who are doing the work need to eat.
But you gotta feed the vessel. The meat suit needs to eat.
So as
So
far as
I know it feels uncomfortable from the side of being in the bump up. It is appropriate.
as far as menu goes, I volunteer to bring a non-lettuce based salad. I don't know if it's going to be a pasta salad or like a cucumber apple salad yet, but it's not going to have lettuce. I've got a whole folder of non-lettuce based salad ideas. So
So I guess that when we're talking menu, like how specific
What we
are,
want this to be.
yeah,
What
do we-
would be a traditional Beltane menu? I think asparagus ought to be on the menu.
I mean, I feel like what Mandy's mentioning, I feel like that's very Beltane-y, especially if you do more of
The spring veggies.
the veggies
Yeah, like
and
if I
less
do-
of the pasta.
yeah, the apple
Yeah,
cucumber.
that was so sorry. I was like, there was some I forgot what it was.
Yeah, it's actually really good salad. And I can talk, Melissa has a binder full of asparagus recipes. What would the main protein be?
Yeah, that's the question. What do we want to do for a main protein?
Rabbit.
I was just gonna say
Rabbit.
bunny rabbit. Just have bunny rabbits.
Oh, I just found a lovely site with 100 Beltane recipes on it.
Nice.
Can we make
So
a
this makes a
cake?
really good point. And I was leaning towards eggs anyway, even though we usually do eggs at Ostara. But eggs are still fertility, and this is still a fertility holiday.
Mhm.
Hell yes, it's outdoor fucking day.
So anything with eggs, also anything spicy.
Yeah, I was thinking like, because it's also, that sacralness and anything that makes you think
No.
about,
No.
belly dancing and those.
Some of
types
us can't
things.
handle spice.
Yeah.
Well,
If it's spicy, it needs to be clearly labeled.
Well, yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Everything's going to be clearly labeled because we want ingredients on everything, don't we?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Every damn ingredient, not just can of soup. Everything that's
Every
in
one of y'all
that
that brings
can of soup.
something- Every one of y'all that
Sorry.
brings something better make sure to label it your damn self, because I don't want to sit there and do what I did at Thanksgiving. That was a mess.
And again, the more we do this and set the example, the more other people will join in.
So
Uh,
here's a question: does this it seems like we're all in agreement? Does this need to have a formal vote?
I don't think so. Executive order.
Yeah, they're pulling the executive order card.
I am flexing my executive privilege
This
here.
is not a
Executive order.
democracy, it's a cheer.
As long as you're not calling Order 66, I think we're okay.
In fact, the Sabbath's book by Eden McCoy's got some pretty interesting foods in it too.
Yeah, here, let me copy this one and I'll drop it in a chat for you guys that I'm looking at. This one's got a lot in it.
If I made a pasta salad, can I use penis-shaped pasta?
Yes.
Would that be appropriate for Beltane?
No,
Yes,
for
literally.
children.
The children probably won't know what they are.
Are you kidding me?
We'll make it X-rated pasta.
No, I'm totally okay with dick-shaped pasta. If somebody has kids in this religion and think they can shelter them from genitalia, then
That's their issues, their circus, their monkeys. We'll get the tickets to the show and see how it plays out.
it's not like we don't put penis pops on the altar for Beltane and
Right.
you know
Vulva.
the pussy candles and everything else. So if you want to
Those-
get the
those are
bachelor party
Virginia
pasta
candles,
from
thank you very
Spencer's, go
much.
for it.
Those are Virginia candles.
And Richard candles.
Yep.
I
The
mentioned
Richard-
asparagus,
Richard
spinach
Frozen
is
onion.
also good, and green onions are going to be seasonal. And flowers, if anybody has access to edible flowers and recipes, that would be fantastic. So since this is a new thing, I
Okay.
don't want to spend
want
board
some.
meeting time trying to sort it all out. But
Okay.
I wanted to go ahead and have the policy established. I shared the recipe page that I found in the board chat, and we can take some time and get this menu set over the next week and get everybody picking something, and we'll update the event listings and whatnot.
What you got, Miss Mecca?
This is discussion adjacent, but since we are kind of stepping up on food, I feel like we need to, for the safety of everything, like have a better, maybe a box or something where we can house our food cards so that we can make sure we have enough for these. Because I know every meal that we've had, people come to me and they say, oh, hey, where do I get the cards to fill out my recipes? A lot of times people are wanting to do it before ritual, and I'm just like, I don't know.
Okay.
So I think we
It should
need-
be with our dining supplies.
They
where
are
that should
with
get
our dining
housed.
supplies, and I will make sure that there's more copies of those made because that's what needs to be done because they are running low. I will put that on my to-do list right here in front of me so it gets
Well,
taken
'cause
care of.
I was thinking maybe that could be part of our ongoing Green Man's Day to like evaluate how many food
Ingredient cards.
cards we have, and like maybe have like an X amount that like we can always make sure we have, you know, if it is less than this amount, part of Green Man is to bring it up to that amount or more.
So
Yeah.
I think because that you said that's in the like the silverware tub, right?
Yeah.
So checking the silver, we should just make, you know, the putting away last Sabbath, preparing next Sabbath. Part of that is the food section too, right?
Yeah,
Right.
checking on food supplies.
If we have
Mhm.
the food supplies, you know, everything's clean. That of the washable stuff, everything that's, you know, that's not reusable, we have enough of, whatever the case is. So I'm adding that, just check food, tote as part of the green mandate, so.
I would say check food tote, including ingredient card, just in case we have a slip of mind of like what we're checking for.
Yeah,
But
I agree.
It is so
Yeah,
important.
Right.
because I would forget.
And we know how we are. Sometimes squirrels have brains.
no, that's fine, it's there.
Like if I see check it, I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, all the plates are good, silver is good, and this is important. This is a safety issue. Like I'd rather run out of plates than run out of food cards.
Right,
Because we can always run down to the goddamn gas station, down to the corner store and get more paper plates if we need to.
But
Trust me.
I don't like doing that, so.
I know you don't. I'm being a smartass.
okay, cool, so I got that on there. Good deal.
I think that was all I had.
Okay.
Hi.
Oh,
What?
nope, that's for later. So, yeah, that's all I got.
Fair
Some
enough.
of you I see in multiple contexts.
I know. I know.
Right? So I don't have anything else.
Yeah.
Anybody else have anything else?
I have a 9 o'clock class.
I got 45 minutes.
I do have a 9 o'clock class.
Yeah, I already made my trek to the river.
Bless you.
I'll wait till we close. I should fill in Solenox about my river encounter.
Yeah.
All right. Are we ready to adjourn then?
I believe so.
All right. Do we need to motion it and second it?
Yes, we do.
I motion that we adjourn this meeting.
Second.
All in
All in
favor?
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Did we have anybody on YouTube?
No, it
Okay.
shows one watching, but I'm pretty sure that's me because I've got it up, so.
Okay, so stop the recording.
All right, give me a second. Heather, okay, and then I need to make a macro that just says that all I do is push a button. It says all vote aye because
Yeah. You know,
Yeah, do it. Do it.
I told you macros are your friend.